Lanes back.
Let's find out what map we're going to be on for game number 2. As of course we had our bans, we had Infernal Shrines. It's going to be going to Dragonshire here, and that is Expert's pick, Tim. We've seen plenty of iterations and changes and wild throws from Expert onto this map. But
Yeah.
it'll probably be more of a consistent Expert on this time.
Old Expert, we did see a lot of crazy stuff
Yeah.
on here. Zul, Butcher, Nazebo, etc. With the new Athuro in here, they still love that top lane matchup that naturally occurs. You usually get that one-on-one.
Yeah.
You can do a couple of drafts that has that rotation up there to try and get some pokes, but for the most part, it's mostly a Thorough show in the top lane and the 4-man doing the middle on the bottom. This is actually a battleground that Expert goes to more often than a lot of the other EU teams.
Yep.
When we do go to Dragonshire, it's usually towards the end of the best-of-5 series, so Expert going to be looking happy here going to this map.
They really want some comfort as like a buffer almost in this series if they feel confident on Dragonshire. Let's get into it. Game number 2. Currently, Expert leads 1-0 here in the best of 5. Let's see if they can make it a 2-0 on their map pick.
Team Liquid as a team, from what I've seen, seems fairly comfortable on Dragonshire overall. So I don't anticipate they are any stranger to this map. The Medivh ban coming out, it's a strategy that we saw from Fnatic earlier throughout the day. And I think it makes a lot of sense versus ADRD, of course.
Yeah, it's not unheard of, not only because it is into ADRD, but it's just a map where we know, like on Tomb especially,
Dahaka,
where
please.
the lanes are so very close to one another. The portal play essentially makes you win the 1-4 just off mobility alone. So I don't mind that ban coming out from Liquid, but the priority on Dahaka.
Yeah, Team Liquid needs this priority. Throughout this entire tournament, there are 3 heroes that they have excelled with and earned their victories with. And that's Ariel, which is now starting to be banned out almost every single time it feels like against them, Dahaka, and Lunara. Those are the heroes that they have been doing very well with in this tournament, so I want that Dahaka. Nurak has just been putting in a clinic when it comes to Dahaka. Him and Wubby right now are probably the top 2 of the tournament.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Dahaka in particular has shown a lot of value throughout this tournament. The global, of course, is very good on Dragonshire, and I'm really curious to see how Expert is willing to respond. There's a couple ways that I see. They could go into a 2-1-2 style format where they would just pressure the Dahaka with an extra member. They could go into like a 1-3-1 rotation, and then with the 3-man just sort of pressure whatever seems more likely that they'd be able to get some value. But they end up going with the Abathur again. The Anub'arak does make sense. They prioritized it from first pick as well. But what do you think about the Abathur Dreadnought?
You know, Abathur in the later stages of Dragonshire is absolutely terrifying, but the beginning stages is suddenly, he can be a nuisance, he can be a problem. It's a bit more high risk on kind of like backdooring some of those shrines, but I view it like I do on maps like Sky Temple. Abathur, I personally feel like is one of the strongest heroes in the game, but it is less likely to thrive here than we know on other environments, which is why his involvement rate is so much lower on maps like Dragon.
For me, it's actually a little bit on the different side. I think Abathur for Europe is actually outstanding. The idea is that you make that one-on-one on that top lane be so oppressive that you can't do anything about it. You force your opponents to react and put members in that top lane, which allows for your 3-man, which should be drafted to be sustainable by itself, and a spot where they can contest giants or even put pressure on the bottom lane.
I think the Genji pickup is smart overall by Team Liquid. They do lack a little bit in wave clear, but they can address that later in the draft. However, the Genji in particular, I think, is more so a deny when we take into consideration the Abathur has already been picked up. And I anticipate from Expert, they want an Illidan or another hero like Illidan to sort of match up with the Abathur well. And I think Team Liquid with the Genji pickup is going to identify the desire for the Illidan and not let it through.
Genji's a wonderful pickup here, just because of the ability for him to get across that map quick enough and put pressure on that top lane. The heroes that you would normally go with Abathur, you mentioned the Illidan, the Sonya as well, our heroes are going to be kind of overextending here and there and have the option to make a mistake where Genji can punish heavily. So I love that pickup from Team Liquid.
Yeah. I think that Expert might actually end up with a Greymane more than anything else. I think they're comfortable with that pickup.
I adore this ban from Expert to see the fall set come out because the complement not only to the map, but looking at their draft circumstances. If you do face a double global with the Abathur to the post-20 aspect of a map like Dragonshire, you're essentially that body element and being a problem on allowing your team to always body on top of one shrine is near non-existent because you can just keep one of the globals, wait into the side, wait for Abathur to commit, go in, kill him, and then use the double global to fight elsewhere. So it's really, suddenly he becomes a problem in those later stages. Whereas rather than just the assisting hat, as you were talking about before.
Yeah, and Team Liquid did end up banning the Illidan. Taking away the Genji and the Illidan now leaves up Greymane. For the Abathur, that's one of the better clone targets left, and they do secure it here with the Rhaegar. One thing that I think kind of goes unnoticed sometimes, I think Rhaegar is actually one of the better supports on Dragonshire, strictly
yeah.
because of the fact that when it comes to bot lane control in general, he's able to fast clear the wave and get out mercenary camps so efficiently. Both Greymane and Rhaegar, I anticipate we'll be seeing walking around the map while Bad Benny stalls a specific camp, just, you know, taking a camp left and right.
Yeah, it allows the Nubarak to eventually not actually invade, but feint and invade on the right side. See if your opponents are grabbing those giants. And remember when you have that 4-on-3 in the bottom because you have that 1 on the top, you can say, all right, they're grabbing the giants, and Rhaegar, like you mentioned, goes and clears it quickly. Also, can't go wrong with Lightning Bond, helping out Greymane, making him a little bit stronger. So 4th and 5th pick coming in from Team Liquid. Maybe needed an engaged tank, someone a little bit stronger on that front line. I'm trying to think, what would Blumby want to move into? Typically, it's that Muradin, but I feel like his Muradin's been a little bit on the lackluster side this tournament.
I don't know what it is. My gut's just telling me Johanna. I don't think Johanna is very commonly played by Liquid or Europe in general.
It is here.
But it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
here. Yeah, it works out. It's
Okay,
Stitches.
Stitches instead. I
Ooh.
definitely do like the Stitches a lot more. The Lunara makes a lot of sense. Liquid's
That's
shown quite a bit of prowess on it.
That's super old school Team Liquid, that Lunara Stitches. My question is, do we get a Thrall?
This is a question for Tim. Have you guys been seeing any Thrall?
They've
in
dabbled
HGC
in it,
Europe?
and we saw it on Tuma Spider Queen. It's been on Dragonshire a couple of times. I think personally I prefer the Sonya simply because it's a thorough, but
Yeah.
Thrall has the engage, he has Sunder.
I don't hate the idea of a Malthael either
That
into
was
this
another
game.
one I was thinking.
It's, you know, I'm concerned because there's so much gank potential with the Genji on the other side.
Yeah.
You typically want your top lane to be a bit more safer than a Malthael can be, but with the Abathur hat on top of it, mixed with the pressure you can have onto the Dahaka and the prep that can have with a double Greymane clone later, it's just, I mean, it's no reset Genji, but you can enable those guys to just go ham into team fights later on.
From my perspective, no pick is screaming at me right now. I could see a Malthael. I could see like potentially an Arthas, and it does end up being the Malthael. He has a very good matchup into both Uther, Dahaka, and Stitches, I'd say.
Which is also another reason I didn't really bring up in my justification that I thought it was going to be the Malthael is the Falset was banned out too, which now it's 2 heroes that are very R dependent. You know, they need their heroics up before they're going to be high impact into a fight.
Yeah.
The number 1 hero you want to avoid at all costs is going to be Falset, at least in the current meta. Zeratil's another one to talk about, but I mean, that's a little bit wilder and not even nearly as good as the Falset in that role.
This is a really weird question, but I'm just curious to see if anybody's actually messed around with it. How's Malthael clone? Is it rubbish?
It actually uses the passive of the original. That was the first thing I tested, but I haven't seen it actually competitively dropped out.
From my perspective, definitely like my team, in our experience, we've dabbled and tested it before,
Okay.
and it seems relatively underwhelming, I'd say.
Okay.
I anticipate when you already have a great clone target, such as the Greymane, we're not going to be seeing very
Yeah.
many Malthael clones.
Time for predictions. Starting with you, Tim.
Oh man, Expert's looking great, but with stats right now, Team Liquid has Dahaka, Lunara, and we have, of course, Stitches in the mix. So I think I'm going to have to go with Team Liquid on this one.
Short thoughts, guys.
Bit hesitant on the Abathur at first glance, but overall, looking at the draft, I got to go with Expert.
I actually agree with Judd. I think Experts got the winning draft here. I think Athero's fantastic on the Malthael.
Thank you very much, gents. Time for game number 2 here. Expert currently leads 1-0, bringing out the Malthael once again for the second time in this tournament. Let's head over to the commentary team.
Yes, thank you guys. A lot of interesting discussion there. Malthael coming out as predicted. Very strong matchup into Dahaka and Stitches. And so nice to see how excited the audience is. Every time we see a new hero pop up here, Sylvanas last game and Malthael this time. The audience once again here in Kiev, Ukraine is full. Gillian, they're here excited to see the conclusion of this second map here.
Yeah, this audience has been amazing. And even when it's a European team playing versus a North American team, for instance, the NA team has gotten a lot of love too. They have been fantastic. These games have been fantastic. So let's get into the next one. In the blue, we have Expert with Bad Benny playing a Nubarak Nick on Greymane. Curson playing Rhaegar, ADRD on his Abathur, and Athero Angel playing Malthael.
And here on the right side, Team Liquid in the red. Blumby on Stitches, Nurok on Dahaka, Darkmark on Genji, Hasselhoff on Lunara, and Splendor on Uther.
We've seen a lot of Dark Mach Lunara so far in this event, but now we get to see him play Genji, and I could not be more excited to see how he handles this highly mobile assassin. But we also have Malthael, and as was talked about, He's going to be up in the top lane for the solo. He can make a Dehaka's life miserable in the 1v1. I was talking to Fury about it, and he said, I really do not like playing Dehaka into Malthael.
Very good matchup for Malthael, but it will be up to Genji to gank that top lane every now and then. There's going to be a big responsibility on the side of Bad Bunny and ADRD. Look at that mine nest trap there. That is designed to stop a Genji in his tracks. But it'll be up to Bad Bunny and Abathur here, ADRD, to stop that rotation, to see Genji coming in. But look at this interesting rotational choice here. They disliked the Dehaka into Malthael matchup to such a degree that they put Lunara there.
Yeah, you're mainly relying on your stitches for the wave clear for Team Liquid, so maybe not feeling like they can try to keep up with Team Expert, who ended up not going for Lightning Bond, still getting Wolf Run in this instance, but even still with the Greymane, drawing a lot of Team Expert up so far to the top, so it's just Greymane versus Dehaka in the bottom lane, and Dehaka can be happy to take that Shrine. Let's see how Team Expert wants to respond. Do they switch things up, or are they going to continue the path that Team Liquid has put them on?
Nothing is for sure here. Big engage here on Lunara. Bad Bunny coming from there where you least expect him. He was already at the top bush. And you've got the Wisp to save you. But Bad Bunny found an opening, as he does, as has been talked about him.
Yeah, I love that Bad Bunny showed up from a bush that you think you should be safe from. You've got the Wisp trying to watch out and give you vision elsewhere. Maybe even we'll see Dividing Wisp at 4 just to make sure that you can get a lot of vision to stop from these ganks of Bad Bunny, which are happening once again. He's hoping he can slow things down, get Curson away, and he does, keeping him alive.
Nice peel by Bad Bunny. Curson gets away. Double blue lasers channeling here for Team Expert. They're controlling both the shrines. They can try to get that Dragon Knight early, but Team Liquid is there to stop them. Nurok still in bot lane. And there we see that siege camp being taken so fast.
Bad Bunny is not able to stop members of Team Liquid from getting on the point, but he's still going to hold on to this. Burrow charging away finally as Team Liquid shows up with 4 people, but the hook connects on Curson. They'll take him out.
Masterful hook there, Master Blumby. Getting the hook on Rhaegar with the Hammer of Justice follow-up. Cooldown just came back again, and Team Liquid gets a very important engage there. They get the camp, they get the XP, and they get a hero. They can now start to channel these lasers back again.
So I'm looking at the Abathur build, and it seems to be the standard enabling of a melee assassin or assassin build that we often see with pressurized glands, and that will later on lead to things like Soma transference, making sure that you can hit more heroes and get the healing off of that spike burst. But Adrenal Overload still to give attack speed. What do you make of this with the composition that Team Expert has?
Yeah, attack speed on Anub'arak, Rhaegar and Malthael is not impressive in any way whatsoever. When Anub'arak gets level 13 though, Acid Drenched Mandibles makes it slightly better, but the question is how often can you really safely auto-attack during a composition fight like this against Team Liquid? And then the only thing that comes to mind is Greymane. Maybe with his level 16 Executioner, his level 20 Hunter's Blunderbuss, he's going to benefit a lot from that attack speed.
Now there are a lot of slows and stuns available to Team Expert to proc Executioner on. So that could be it. Although you would have to give up Alpha Wolf, and that could give some extra damage to the warrior players, the big beefy front line of Team Liquid. So we'll have to see how Greymane wants to build on out. It's still the standard cocktail build for now.
Let's see, Bruiser Camp is pushing top. Team Liquid, Lunara has chosen the Splintered Spear. It will still take her ages to clear these Bruiser Camp. Doesn't have that Nature's Culling thing that used to be so meta. She's gonna have to deal with that. In the meantime, Team Expert abandoned their top lane and they send 3 mid, 4 mid.
Seeing Cold Hand as a change-up for Aethero is build. No Touch of Death, so no reduced healing. A lot of times you'll see that versus a Rhaegar to hope that you can limit and 50% that ancestral healing, but in this case, also helps a lot with the self-heal of Dehaka, and what makes him such a formidable 1v1 against Dehaka helps a lot with that. But he hasn't been 1v1ing Dehaka too much just yet.
And then when you think of it, it's really not that good against Uther. Uther has like 3 escapes that have nothing to do with healing. You've got the armor, Divine Shield, you've got the Hand of Protection, the Cleanse. Healing is just a small part of his kit, so it's hard to really get value out of Touch of Death.
What
Right.
Cold Hand will help with is kiting. If you get your mark on someone and you want to be able to get to them, using the Soul Rip will then be able to slow them down. Team Liquid is setting up, hoping that they can get a Dragon Knight, but once again, their plans have been thwarted by Team Expert. No Dragon Knight just yet in this game.
Yeah, Dragonshire hasn't been played much at this tournament. It's an incredibly complex map where constant rotations will give one team the upper hand. It is so difficult to find an opening. And we routinely see no Dragon Knights being taken at all until level 10, 13 even, as it will take a takedown to actually get enough sway on the map. Look at this, Team Liquid invading at the siege camp.
Last time this happened, a hook went out and a Rhaegar was lost. So Expert needs to be careful about that.
Is Team Liquid just gonna steal another camp? There is no level 10 yet. Everyone is in position to try and steal it, but Expert would rather wait until level 10. At level 10 they get a copy, a Greymane copy, and they can jump straight on Lunara and pressure her, force out the Divine Shield, and then use the real Greymane to finish someone off.
And a Cocoon will stop Divine Shield from being able to save said target. Cursed Bolt has gone out, doing some damage to Nurok, and in fact ADRD is even going to clone that Greymane.
Very strange timing for the ultimate evolution. He was actually going to go for the Haka. He will now come down here. He's going to get some value. That is still an 8-second copy. Applying pressure on Linara and Genji.
Yeah, Greymane in Worgen form. A Greymane clone in any capacity has to be dealt with. Ultimate Evolution gives you 20% attack damage, 20% ability power, and then 10% movement speed. So it's very easy for you to get on someone squishy in the backline like a Lunara. And then once you go into Worgen form, you get all the extra benefits of that, attack damage, as well as the armor. That's why Greymane is such a good clone target. Anybody with a strong trait makes an excellent clone target, and that's why there was the question about whether or not Malthael clone might be viable.
Yeah. You can always use that Greymane copy to win an objective. You send him into his death, but it takes so long to deal with him. He puts out so much damage, and in the distraction of that very short cooldown Ultimate Evolution, just to illustrate, it's back already, you can try and get the objective. In the meantime, this tactical chess game continues. The tension is rising as no team finds an opening just yet. The Team Expert's doing well on capping the mercenary camps.
Yeah, the difficulty for Expert is Abathur's not really going to go onto a shrine, unless maybe they wipe Team Liquid and are sure that there's no way that Abathur can get caught. It's very dangerous for him to move out onto a shrine. So essentially it's one less body. It gives them a necessary need to win a team fight just like this. They're jumping on top of Lumby. Impale hits him. Divine Shield has been forced. Tormented Souls has now been dealt with. Ethereal Angels blends out, getting away. Nurok full health, and a lot of members of Expert scared of that drag.
Hasselhoff's going absolutely ham, poisoning everyone. Is that lethal on Ethereal Angel? The answer seems no, but they do take out Anubarak here with the clutch save on Bloomby as Uther was freed from the cocoon, received the Divine Shield. The Dragon Blade neared the end of its life. Hasselhoff was the one that was ignored there. The Cursed Bullet came out on Stitches, barely didn't take him out, and Hasselhoff got the turnaround there and went absolutely crazy, pushed everyone back. Liquid get a takedown. But crucially, will they be able to get the Dragon Knight? The answer seems no, and Nubrak is already back.
Abathur did delay for a little bit. Dahaka is going to go up and get that top shrine, and Splinter is tanky standing on the point. It's only Person for now in the bottom. And now Expert are at least going to go in for an engage, hoping to punish Team Liquid for being spread out. Splendor body blocked into Oblivion. Nurok now coming in, hoping that he can help bail Hasselhoff out of danger.
Team Expert min-maxing there, the helping hand from Bloomby, saving Hasselhoff. Expert was doing a min-max there, trying to get the second kill after they got Uther. Cocooning Lunara, saving her for later, but the escape is real.
Great helping hand to help out in that situation. But Expert still needs to deal with this Dragon Knight that Darkmock's been in the entire time. Expert at least hoping that they could limit the damage by getting a lot of kills. They did find one, but Darkmock has brought the Dragon Knight up to the top while Dahaka is simultaneously sieging in the bottom. Team Liquid was drawn back for a little bit, but they're still hoping that they can get a lot done here, taking out some towers, starting to put some damage on those forts so that they can get more and more control over the lanes. Taking out the top fort would be so nice and making it a little bit easier for them to grab the top shrine and then hold on to it for longer.
Yeah, exactly. All these forts provide such a buffer for Abathur to get more experience. The sooner Team Liquid can deal with them, the better. Genji pops out of the Dragon Knight, uses both of his escapes to get away, and I think that's it. He's got nothing left. Darkmog, will there be a helping hand?
There it is!
He should have another jump.
Switch strikes out.
My.
Darkbox saved the incredible teamwork of Team Liquid, but Blumby may have gone too far. Hooks Hero back in. There's a stun from Splendor, but not too much else to follow up.
So nice. I didn't even know where Blumby was, but I knew this. If Blumby or Uther are not close here, if Splendor or Blumby aren't there, Genji is dead. But like a hero, Blumby came there with another helping hand. Genji gets away and they even get a little bit of poke damage on Mathiel. That Dragon Knight was pretty cool, but it didn't get any of the forts. Walls, fountains, yes, but damage was very well mitigated by Expert there. Abathur still in a very forward position. Look at that. Veritably taunting his adversary, Dehaka, in lane.
Expert can't catch a break with this giant camp. This time the Blumby has taken a lot of damage with the Cursed Bullet from Nick. Ancestral Healing heals Bad Bunny back up so they can continue in the chase. ADRD with the clone on Rhaegar this time, going in for a bot bite. Extra heals, but no kills from that.
Yeah, no kills just yet. ADRD clone will just about die before it expires. It offers 1/4 of XP of a hero kill. It's still worth it to chase down an Ultimate Evolution. Don't risk too much for it though. Team Liquid ahead in XP. They're very close to 16. The next shrines are coming. A fight breaks out. There should be nothing to save Blumby this time around.
No, especially since that Death Shroud connected. Ethereal Angel could Wraith Strike in, killing Stitches. Splendor is being attacked too, taken down. And this is letting Expert catch back up. Crucially inexperienced to Team Liquid because we've got shrines activating in just a few seconds.
The perfect timing here by Team Experts, finding the kills right as they are up against it, being down in that level. They get the double kill. They're now starting to paint the map blue. It is not enough for them to get bottom Bruiser. They're stealing this one as well. This was supposed to be a safe haven for Team Liquid.
Expert is bringing the battle to Team Liquid after dealing with constant invades in their mercenary camps. They'll get some of their own, and that relieves that top lane. ADRD goes to the top shrine. Immediately, they get the bottom as well. They've got mercenary camps in both of the lanes, and that's a free Dragon Knight setup for Ethereal Angel to get it.
Rhaegar will jump into the fray, grabs Hunger of the Wall, 5% lifesteal on that Rhaegar, ready to chunk down Stitches together with that Cursed Bullet. Stitches gonna have to be very careful. Stitches himself completed the slam build, grabs Pulverize, will do massive damage and slow. That's gonna be very important to peel for himself as well as for his allies. But even as Team Expert grabs the lead here, Lunara gets closer and closer to crazy levels as well. She grabbed level 16, choking Poland, massive burst, and she gets closer and closer to high levels. Lunara, one of the best scaling heroes into the late game. Poison grabs 4.5% extra power per level. 4% is every other hero's power level, so she's a really good late game hero. Look at that damage on Bad Bunny there.
Yeah, between the Pulverize, but especially the Putrid Vial, and then the Thornwood Vines that you have to apply poison, there's a lot of different ways that you're able to get poison onto people, and importantly, the slows. Because with Unfair Advantage now, Nature's Toxin is doing 50% more damage to heroes whenever they are slowed. And being able to bring down a lot of health bars is what starts to set up and enable Genji to go in, get his resets, and then cleanly take out several heroes at once.
Dehaka turns on Adaptation instantly. Nurok knows he is in trouble. He's gonna get that heal. Full popping heal on Adaptation. The turnaround is possible, but that is still a nice game for Expert. Liquid does not want to waste this opportunity. They jump in. Nurok goes in with Dehaka. Can he find his mark?
He's still slowing people down, but Stitches has simultaneously been slowed down by Ethereal and the clone by ADRD. They take out Blumby while the rest of Expert turns back around on Team Liquid. What a beautiful setup from Team Expert.
Liquid made a confidence call. They chased with Dehaka, but Stitches got caught in a rotation. No one can escape death. Ethereal Angel jumps in there with Malthael. 4 heroes down. Dragon Blade is still available, but can one ninja stop the onslaught here of Team Expert? They're pushing in. They're getting a keep, and they are looking at that core. And I don't think there's anything Darkmog can do, no matter how skilled he is, to stop this. Expert 1-0. They're looking at the 2-0. They go for the core. They should be getting level 20 in just a second.
Expert is always so confident every single time they win that decisive of a team fight, and they should be. They are looking so good in this instant. Ancestral Healing keeps Ethereal Angel alive. Darkmon getting low, has to step back, and that's just enough for Expert to take out the core once again, going up 2-0 over Team Liquid.
If I hadn't seen Expert versus Fnatic, I would be scratching myself on the head right now and asking who can stop the insane movement, the rotations, the level of discipline and understanding in every moment. Who can stop Team Expert? Team Expert fell 0-3 to Fnatic, but they looked good, especially in game 1 when they did so. And now against Team Liquid, they look indomitable.
This is Expert's first LAN event together as a team, but it is their first as a team since Gamescom. A lot of questions were raised about how are they going to perform on LAN, and it feels like, you know, there's some teams that come into a LAN environment with the crowd, with all the hype, and they struggle with that. But then there are teams that come in and just excel, hearing the crowd roar when they make a play, and it seems like we know which one Expert is.
Yeah, I think they're loving the attention here of the adoring crowd. Expert is livening up here in front of this attention, and we are just going to be heading to a short break before we go on. But after that, we're going to have Expert continue their match against Team Liquid and see who can take it all home and challenge Fnatic in the grand finals.
HGC Cheer. To bring more hype to HGC this year, you can cheer with bits to show support for your favorite teams